What's going on, guys, and welcome to part 2 of my primitive crab trap build, catch and cook. If you haven't seen part 1, please go check that out. If you just click on my channel, it'll be the video posted before this one. I'm going to be starting this video off around a fire. This is because the catch and cook part didn't quite go to plan, so I got a few things to explain about what happened, and then we'll get straight into the crabbing action. So I'm actually starting this video off at the end of the video. I'm actually getting this fire ready to cook the crab that we caught, and that's because I got to explain the video a little bit. It didn't quite go to plan, so yeah, I'm gonna get some more sticks on this fire and then I'll explain what I'm talking about. So I just put some more sticks on that fire now, so I just got to wait for them to burn down to create a nice coal base to cook on. So while we wait for that, I'm just going to explain what's going on. So if you haven't watched part 1, I'll show you the video of the trap now. But yeah, this trap I built about 12 months ago now, so I made the part 1 video pretty well 12 months ago, and I've been waiting all this time to film part 2, and I've had about 7 attempts at trying to catch a crab in the trap, and it just hasn't gone to plan. So the first attempt, I went down to a little creek near my house and threw it in, and I had to put 4 bricks in the pot to make it actually sink, and where the creek I was crabbing in had quite a drop off into the creek, so I had to pull the trap up that, and the trap's just that heavy, like even without the bricks. So once you put 4 bricks in, it's just too heavy to pull up, so it took me ages to pull it up the bank. So I had to think of a better way to catch a crab in the trap. And what I worked out was I'm gonna have to place the trap somewhere at low tide, wait for the tide to come up, hopefully catch some crabs, and then the tide to go back out, and that's when I'll check it. So that way I'm not pulling it up and crabs are getting out. I can just pick it up at low tide and see what's in there. So once I worked that out, I thought of a spot, the mangroves near my house. So yeah, I went for the first time there, so the second attempt of catching something in the trap. I tried it, I put 1 brick on top to try and weigh it down. It was a real big brick that I put on top, and I thought that'd be plenty to weigh it down. And it was a real big tide come up, and I went to check it after the tide's gone out, and somehow, obviously, the water's rushing out of the mangroves, and it's managed to move the trap with the brick on top. So I got there and the trap was upside down, so I've got footage of that. I'll show you that now. So it's a bit disappointing. I've made it back to the trap and we had it sitting there with that brick on it, and it's now sitting over there upside down, so there's obviously nothing in it. So that was the second attempt, which was once again a fail, and then we moved on to the third attempt. So with crabbing in the mangroves, the way I was doing it, I had to wait for the perfect tide. So I just needed a massive high tide to fill up the mangroves, have plenty of time for the trap to be in the water, and then the tide goes out. So to find those big high tides, I had to wait ages, because I just couldn't do it on a small high tide. So that's why it took so long to make the video. I had to wait weeks and weeks to get the right tide. But anyway, so third attempt was the most frustrating. So I had a really nice big high tide for the third attempt, and so I baited the pot up, went and put it out, waited a couple hours for the tide to come up, recede back out, and went and checked it. The pot was still in the water when I checked it, so I waited there for probably 10-20 minutes for the tide to just settle a bit more, get past the entrances, and then that's when I went and picked it up. So I picked the trap up. It had 3 real nice crabs in it. I've got footage of them, which I'll show you shortly, but I think there was 3 legal crabs and 4 undersized crabs, which was awesome. And I was super stoked with that. And I filmed the whole thing, or thought I was filming the whole thing. And after getting back to the house, I took the GoPro off my head. I had the head mount on. And yeah, I realised it was still filming when I got to the house. So I stopped filming, checked the footage that I had. I had 15 minutes of me walking back through the mangroves back to the house, and there was no footage of any of the crabbing. So that was really frustrating. Yeah, so that was the third attempt, another fail. I'll show you the footage of the crabs that we caught now. So yeah, there was 3 really nice crabs there. Nice full crabs. One of them I think had no claws. But yeah, no, I was stoked with those 3 crabs in the primitive crab trap. but obviously devastated about losing the footage, or well, I didn't lose the footage, I just never filmed it. So I don't know what happened there. I obviously, yeah, I don't know, stopped filming at some stage, thought it was still filming. So that was our third attempt, which was successful, but also a big fail. So yeah, moving on to the fourth, fifth and sixth attempt. We put them out. Once again, I had to wait for the right tides, so it took time. Put the pots out, checked them, and there was this little undersized crabs every time. So I had a bit of a break for a while. Give it a couple, well, it was about 2 months where I didn't do anything, and then finally had the seventh attempt. So yeah, once again I found the right high tide. It was actually the biggest of them all. It was nearly a 3 metre high tide. The whole mangroves went under right up kind of into the bush, so it was the biggest one of them all. So yeah, I set the trap up. It was quite worn out. It definitely seen better days, so I did have to do a few repairs on the trap through the whole thing. So the whole 12 months I had to fix it a couple of times. But yeah, this last one, it was, I mean, it wasn't too bad. Like, I honestly thought it was going to hold up for the video. So yeah, I baited the trap up, went out there, set it, come home, was at home for a couple of hours, waited for the tide to run out. I went back, and I was actually there quite early, like the tide was too high to get to the trap. So I walked around the mangroves for a little bit, found a few like just undersized little crabs. Then finally the tide went out. I walked out to check the trap, got to the trap, started filming, went to pick the trap up, and there was no bottom on the trap, so the bottom just fell straight out. So yeah, that was really annoying. I was like, I spent hours and hours and hours on this trap to build, so to have the trap fall apart and not have any good footage of actually catching a crab in it was, yeah, that was really annoying. So yeah, that was the seventh attempt. Once again, another fail. So these coals are pretty well ready now. I'm just going to flick those larger sticks off, spread the coals around. I'll go get that crab to throw on, but I'm going to roll on the footage now of the seventh attempt. So I'll show you the footage of checking it, bottom falling out, and then what happens after that. So yeah, I'll see you back here at the fire very shortly. Alright guys, so we've got the pot just in front of us here. It is still sitting there with our 2 bricks on top. There we go. So there's a crab right there. So there's a crab there, pot there. And there was another one over here somewhere. They're both little crabs, they're not legal. Yeah, I did see another one crawling around there. So that's a good sign, but we'll pull this pot up now and see how we went. Oh, the whole bottom just fell out. Well, this is very frustrating. All the time I spent on this trap, haven't got any good footage, and that's what it looks like now. So it's a few bottom pieces, entrance, and that's what's left of it. So that's real annoying. There's another bit there, I'll grab all those bits out. So that's very annoying. Righto guys, that's the 7th attempt we've had in about 12 months. And that will be our final attempt because the trap is in pieces. So it's very annoying because I honestly spent hours, absolute hours making that trap. Yeah, that's the end of that trap. It's absolutely destroyed. I might be able to fix it and do it again, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So as this water's rushing out here, there's kind of a little creek, well, it runs into a bit of a creek downstream a bit. And this crab, he's just racing down back to the river. So once again, that's the undersized crab. So yeah, he's just making his way back down to the river before the mudflats dry out. So I think my plan is now, there's a creek to the right of me. It gets a bit deeper and wider, so I'm going to search that and see if I can't find a better crab. So on my way to that other little creek I was talking about, I found this shell sitting just here. There's some more pieces of his body there. It was an undersized crab, but I'd say he's maybe got stuck up here when the tide's gone out and he's died from the heat. His claw's just over here. So yeah, there's definitely some signs of crabs up here, which is good. That one obviously didn't make it, which isn't so good, but I'm gonna keep making my way to this creek and then fingers crossed we can find crab to cook on the fire later. So we've just ran into another little crab here. Obviously a very little fella. So we'll leave him alone. There's a nice crab hole just there. The crab's made himself a home there. That's all the mud he's pushed out to dig his hole. So that's a good sign as well. Righto guys, this is looking real good here. So once again, another crab hole. That's probably 20 meters from that last one I just showed you. If we walk over this way, there's another one just here. That's not a bad hole, that one actually. So yeah, quite a few crab holes in this little area, so I'm gonna start searching around here. Alright guys, so we've actually found a half decent crab. So that log right there, he's sitting under it. You probably can't see him on camera. He's actually coming out of the log now. So those holes I showed you before, that's that little patch right there. So we're probably 5 meters away from those last 2 holes that I showed you. And we finally found a crab. So we'll just slowly, he's literally coming out of the log now. There he is. So I'd say he was keeping shelter in that log, just him in there. And he was obviously coming out either, I would have thought if he'd seen us he would have shot back in, but I'd say he was probably making his way back to the river as well, like the rest of them. There we go. So it's a male, as you can see by the triangle there. It's got some weight to him, he's rock solid, which is what we want. It's full of meat, so it'll be a good eating crab. I've got a tape measure in my backpack. I'll just put him down and grab that out and we'll get a measurement on him. Alright guys, it's going to be a bit tricky. I might take him up out of the water and we'll get a measurement up there. Alright, I've brought him right up to the top of the mangroves, or the mud flats. So we're out of the mangroves now. So he's definitely legal, which is awesome. Alright, so we're on that spike. We come across here. So it's about 5 mil over, I reckon. Hard to keep it on that spike. Yeah, so he's 100% legal. I'd say he's about 5 mil over. So that one's going to be coming home with us, and we're going to be cooking that on the fire later. It's very disappointing about that trap. I'm honestly annoyed because, like I said before, I've spent hours and hours and hours, and I've honestly caught crabs in it. I just lost the footage of the 3rd attempt, and all the rest of the crabs were undersized, but we're going to make a video out of this anyway. I'll tell you about my fail of the catch, the build, catch and cook of the trap, but we'll take this one home anyway and cook him up. Righto guys, so I've just spread the coals around. I've just got some of the larger bits, just pushed them to the side. So yeah, we've got some nice coals there now. We're going to throw the crab on. The crab is just there. So yeah, I'm going to lay him on his shell, straight on there now. Righto guys, here we go. So he is out. He's been in the fridge not all day, probably a good 4 hours. So yeah, he's not going to feel any of this. So I'm just going to lay him shell down, straight on the coals like that. So this is my first time cooking a crab straight on the coals like this. I've wanted to do it for ages. I love cooking on a fire just like this. So yeah, it's the first time trying a crab. And I actually wanted to wait for this exact video because I thought, you know, primitive crab trap, the perfect way to cook it is just straight on the coals like this. So yeah, I've waited and waited for the time. I mean, it kind of didn't happen. This wasn't caught in the primitive crab trap. But yeah, anyway, this is what we're going to do for the video. So a quick update on the crab. He's only been on there for probably 3 minutes. You just probably won't see it, but there's all the juices boiling out of him over there, which is a good sign. So I've just moved some of those coals covered as claws to help the claws cook. But yeah, no, it's looking pretty good so far. So we'll have a look at it in probably another 5 minutes. So yeah, I'll see you then. So it's been a good 10 minutes now. The juices have stopped flowing out of it, so I'm going to pull it off. I'm just going to go sit it in the grass there. The grass is actually quite cool, so it'll help it cool it down. But while it's sitting over there, it's still going to be cooking in its shell, so I'm going to get it off now, put it over there. Rightio, I just used the shovel and a stick. I used a stick to put it onto the shovel to bring it over here. I made sure not to get any coals to put in the grass, and I'll keep an eye on it anyway. And once I'm done, I'll put some water over this area and make sure there's no coals to start a fire or anything. But yeah, no, it's looking pretty good so far, so I'm going to give that probably another probably 10 minutes to let it cool down so I can touch it. And in that 10 minutes, it's going to keep cooking as well. So yeah, I'll sit here for a bit longer. I might try and get this fire going again, and then we'll dig in shortly. So I've ripped the shell off. I just broke the crab in half. It's still very hot. I haven't waited very long at all. I'm a little too keen to dig in, but yeah, the crab's just chock-a-block full of meat. We'll get a good look at the claws and see how they are. But yeah, no, I think I'm gonna rip this claw off. I'm gonna start eating the bodies and give the claws a bit longer to cool down because they're super hot still. So yeah, I'll dig in now. So we'll go the back swimmer. I think we probably could have done with a bit more cooking, but I'm happy with that. I'll still eat it. It's definitely cooked. Just could have done with a little bit longer. Definitely like it cooked on the fire though. It's like you can taste the smokiness of it, which is good. I like that flavour. I might need to throw those claws back on. I'm happy with the body, but those claws would have not cooked quite as much, so I might need to throw them back on for a few more minutes. So I got this fire going again. I just had to go get another battery because the GoPro battery died. So I got those two claws just sitting in the side there. I'll pull them off out in a sec. I got this little bit of the body left to eat, so I'll probably smash that and then I'll get these claws back off. Right, I just smashed the claw open with the shovel because that's all I've got. It actually looks really well cooked, so it's still hot as I'm going to let it cool down, but I just wanted to give you a quick look at the claw because I've got to end this video. I'm going to lose light very shortly. But as you can see in there, that's just chock-a-block full of meat. And it looks, yeah, no, it's definitely cooked right through the claw, so that extra cook definitely did well on that. The body, like next time I do this, and I definitely will do it again, it was actually really good, but I will definitely leave the crab on for a bit longer. Yeah, that body wasn't quite cooked, but it was enough to where I was happy to eat it. But yeah, just a little bit longer would have been good, so I'm going to end the video here now. I'm going to smash this claw. But yeah, so this is the end of the video, so thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Wasn't quite the video that I wanted to make. I hope you enjoyed part one. I was pretty happy with the end product of the trap. I was very happy with how it turned out. Just not happy with part two of the catch and cook, but anyway. Just one last look. I just got the meat out of the claw, pulled straight out, which is a sign that it's well cooked. So yeah, nice chunk of meat there, so I'm gonna enjoy that now. So once again, thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one.